The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show, Right Side with Doug Billings, coming to you from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plate. Ladies and gentlemen, today, I've got a doozy for you. The Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, in a full meltdown as they reflect upon and realize President Trump's masterclass in leadership. The radical left sees him as their undoing, and it's happening to them in real time and right before their very eyes. They have been put to sleep, so to speak. President Trump has ended their purposeful government shutdown, and it is a beauty to watch. Now, we've got a real winner out there. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. The closest he'll come to the White House is having a name Whitehouse, thank God. The elite Rhode Island swamp dweller dropped a video today that is equal parts whine and cry and equal part battle cry. I'll break it down for you because it exposes the hypocrisy, and it shows that there is proof that the left within their own movement understands that they are on the cusp of being completely ruined. So stick around. This is going to be viral gold right here. I want you to share this show. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Set your reminders so that when new content from me is dropped, you'll get a notification. And wherever you are and whatever social platform you're watching this, please make sure that you share it. All right. I'm going to show you some video clips today. There's one short video that Senator Whitehouse put out. The entire thing is only 3 minutes and 16 seconds or so, but I'm going to take a look at a few clips, and I'm going to explain to you why and how this guy has laid out the radical left agenda right in front of us. Everything from resist to whatever it takes to get Trump and us, MAGA, out of the way. He'll start by talking about frustration and betrayal, and there is betrayal. There certainly is betrayal within their ranks, but he's talking about one kind of betrayal, an internal to his party betrayal. But there's another betrayal that he doesn't talk about, and it is a betrayal to the American people. So I want to rewind that for you. President Trump, with Speaker Johnson and the GOP, back in October 1st, in fact, pushed and gave a 24-page, clean, crisp, clear, easy to read, continuing resolution. 24 pages, folks. How often does that ever happen? 8 smart Democrats crossed over because they knew there was no plan. There was no credibility. They knew that you can't hold the country hostage for your radical agenda. Chair was going down automatically there, folks. Did you see that? I felt like the incredible shrinking man. But Whitehouse is out there boohooing, Senator Whitehouse, because his party folded like a piece of origami, right? He said, I knew it was coming. I was privy to this a few days ago, and I've had some time to digest it, and so forth and so on. The liberal rationale for a shutdown is vacant, and that's why it all came crashing down. And to deny any of that is simply an example and an exercise in intellectual immaturity. Whitehouse validates the crybaby feelings in saying everyone's entitled to their, to their feelings about this. I understand you. I have empathy. I embrace them with you. Entitled? That's the problem with the radical left, folks. They think that feelings trump facts. He warns against infighting within his party, saying that every ounce of energy fighting against the Democrats is lost from fighting against President Trump. Fighting Trump. The man who just won in a landslide because Americans are sick of Senator Whitehouse's Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, and their open borders, inflation, woke agenda, DEI, the myth and the mental disorder of transgenderism, all of it, the LGBTQ kook community, all of it. That's why Trump won. Senator Whitehouse isn't talking about governance in this video, and you'll see it. He's giving us a rare glimpse, ladies and gentlemen, into the radical liberal call for guerrilla warfare against the will of the people. From an American perspective, this video is a slap in the face to every hardworking taxpayer in this country. It's an attack on the republic itself. Whitehouse wants to hammer Republicans, he says in this video, on extending ACA credits, which come due in December, the Affordable Care Act. The translation to that is that Whitehouse and the Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, want more bloated spending on failed programs that drives up the costs for families. He talks about baking in, you'll hear him say it, baking in increases above Trump's budget for agencies that are special to them. Agencies that Trump wants to streamline and within which he wants to cut waste. Oh, but no, we're going to bake in some increases to spite him. We're going to get him. And then he talks about putting up guardrails against Trump's mischief. Mischief. So mischief is code, when the Democrats use it, for Trump firing the deep state bureaucrats and making government efficient again. That's the mischief. Because remember, the Democrats need the bureaucrats and the bureaucracy to extend power over the people. And even he admits that they can force another shutdown in January, which is probably the most outstanding thing this video demonstrates and says to us. It's the most blatantly shocking. He actually dares to call for another shutdown in this video. It's unbelievable. You can't make it up. It's lunacy of the highest order. Holding Americans hostage for socialist pork in a spending bill. And I'm going to get maggily, is that a word? Probably not. Just made it up. Maggily brutal with you. Whitehouse is a fossil of the old guard in D.C. He's a commusocialist hack who spent decades in the Senate enriching himself off insider trading while Americans suffer. And his rally cry, defend our country from Trump. That's it. As if Trump is the enemy, not the cartels, mind you, flooding our country with drugs, or China stealing our jobs. No, it's Trump who is the enemy here, folks. He wants liberals to amp up the pressure on Republicans so that we have no choice. These are his words. You'll see and you'll hear. So that we have no choice but to cave into them. This is the radical liberal movement on parade right here. This is him giving us a glimpse into their playbook. It's actually outstanding and well worth the 3 minutes and 16 seconds it takes to watch him talk about all this. And when we look to the midterms, he wants to, and he says in this video, he wants to throw Speaker Johnson out, and he wants to flip the Senate. All fair and well, fair competition, I get it, to put real obstacles in Trump's way. That's where it gets anti-American. The duly elected president, their goal is to simply obstruct, resist, and repress anything that he tries to put forward. They want to put, in his words, quote, real obstacles in his way for his corruption and misconduct. So now we get in to the projection and the gaslighting. Corruption, he says. What, like the Biden crime family? Misconduct, like Kamala's border czar disaster? It's projection at its finest, and they're masters at it, the radical left. Whitehouse is firing up his base, these Antifa types, the Hollywood elites, and all of the blue-haired activists out there to resist anything that's MAGA. And they've got an entire swath of our population hypnotized to this nonsense. And it's actually a call to arms. I got to get a new chair. Keeps on sinking. Johnny, give me a new chair. But they don't want to accept defeat. They'll talk about things like sabotage, obstruct, and fight dirty. Again, you can't make this stuff up. It's beautiful to see because I'm glad it tells the truth about who these people really are. But guess what, Sheldon? The American people have spoken. Trump's mandate is clear, it's massive, and it has left your party in shambles. Schumer couldn't lead a conga line, much less his party right now. The defections are real. There's more than 8, too. It's all going to start crumbling down. Look at the replies that Sheldon gets in his post on X. I mean, all sort of fire Chuck Schumer. No more donations for me. You guys are out. Even their own people smell the weakness involved here. Ladies and gentlemen, this video that you're going to see, it proves that the Commusocialists, formerly known as Democrat Party, are desperate. We know it. They're not about unity. They're about division. Whitehouse says, we need to stay united and stay fierce. Fierce, I imagine, like what? Like the riots that they instigated in 2020. Remember those beauties? United, like how they impeached Trump twice on hoaxes, on stuff that's not true. No thanks, Sheldon. We are the ones united behind President Trump, and we will secure the borders. We will continue to unleash energy independence, and we're going to crush inflation. Not to mention the foreign policy victories that he had a couple of weeks ago. All of this monumental. Whitehouse dreams of flipping the House. Dream on. Dream on. We're going to keep the majority. We're going to grow it. So let me zero in on the first part of this whiny video that we have from Sheldon. This is where he drops some real gems that expose the Commusocialist mindset, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen.
I know that a lot of people are feeling some pretty strong feelings today, feelings of frustration, even betrayal. I have somewhat the advantage of, from being in the Senate, being a couple of days ahead of everybody, seeing that this was going to happen. So I've had a bit more time to process it than people who discovered it yesterday. And while I think everybody is entitled to their feelings on this, and I don't want to derogate those in any way, we need to remember the battle that we're in. And every ounce of energy that we put into fighting with each other, fighting with other Democrats, is energy that is lost to the fight to defend our country from Trump and MAGA.
Okay, good. So you heard him talk about betrayal, the battle that we're in. We need to defend our country from Trump and from MAGA, the words that he used. So Sheldon just handed us the ammo on a silver platter that we need. And when we break it down word for word, because it isn't just talk, my friends, it's a window into their deranged and their anti-American soul. First up, betrayal. Whitehouse says that people are feeling frustrated and betrayed within his movement. And folks, he's right. The betrayal is real, but it's not in the way that he spends it. Those 8 Democrats who broke ranks and voted with Republicans to end the shutdown, they are the heroes here. There still are clear thinking and intellectually mature Democrats out there who haven't converted fully to the Commusocialist Party. They want to get back to the open government, to benefits flowing again to the people who deserve it. But to Whitehouse, Senator Whitehouse, and to his radical Commusocialist colleagues, that, my friends, is treason, because it gives Trump a victory. It confirms they're in a full-blown internal civil war over there in the radical left Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. Full-blown. Their caucuses is fractured because sane and logical and intellectually mature Democrats are seeing and able to read the writing on the wall. Trump's mandate is massive, and obstructing it hurts Americans, and it hurts the Democrat Commusocialist Party, but they are completely incapable, apparently, of any credible self-reflection about that. But I'll leave it as it is with them. So Senator Whitehouse is desperately trying to paper over the cracks, like paper mache, the cracks in his foundation. The Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is actually eating itself alive right in front of us, with moderates fleeing and running from that sinking ship, while the far left radicals, demand that they purify the party. Well, it's like a socialist purge, I guess. And Whitehouse is the commissar begging before all of the knives come out. He's begging for unity. Come on, calm down. We've got to unify. Well, next he begins to talk about the battle we're in. There it is, folks. Boom. The militant language that defines the left. The Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, doesn't see politics any longer as debate or compromise. They view it as literally a battle, a fight to the death. That's why their side reverts to violence and inflammatory rhetoric. It's why their side tries to literally kill, assassinate their opposition. Remember the 2020 riots they called mostly peaceful? What about Maxine Waters? Now there's a beauty. Whew. Wow. She urges people to get more confrontational. You saw the videos. You know what I'm talking about. Get in their face when they're out and about in public. How about the endless calls from Hollywood elites, actors, comedians, singers, and other media hacks implying that Trump should be assassinated? Rhetoric that led to actual attempts on his life. They've weaponized words like threat to democracy to justify doxing, harassing, and even attacking MAGA supporters in the streets. This is the radical left movement, folks. Just look at the Antifa thugs that were beating people up in the streets, on campuses, mobs shouting down conservative speakers, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Need I go any further? This battle that he talks about mentally breeds division, danger, and turning neighbor into enemies. But that's what they want. Whitehouse isn't calling for peace in this video. He's stroking the flames, urging his followers to save their energy for the real fight that's up against us. It's also hypocritical. They cry about insurrection on January 6th, but it was all instigated by them. Crooked Capitol Police, people dressing up as MAGA, and Antifa getting involved as well, while ignoring their own history of violent protests. The Kavanaugh hearings, remember that? Remember how violent they got? Portland and their autonomous zones, CHAP and Chaz and all that nonsense. The summer of love that turned into a summer of rape and murder. This language that they use, ladies and gentlemen, is not accidental. It's a dog whistle for more chaos. If they don't get their way, more chaos. And finally, he talks about in this clip, defend our country from Trump and MAGA. And there it is, folks. That's the smoking gun. They are at war with us. This goes way beyond political discourse. It goes way beyond honest disagreements. Senator Whitehouse and his ilk see President Trump and our MAGA movement as the mortal enemy, a threat that has got to be destroyed to protect their radical liberal agenda. This is why they have the No Kings marches. This is why they do all of that nonsense, because they know it's unraveling. They try to become relevant. And what is their agenda? It's straight from their Messiah, Barack Obama. Their agenda is to do as he said, to fundamentally transform America. And when Obama said that, and when these radical liberals hear it, what they know and what they mean is that America needs to be fundamentally transformed away from providence and away from the intent of the founding fathers. It's exactly what they mean. Obama meant ripping apart the Constitution, erasing our Judeo-Christian roots, and opening borders to chaos and imposing top-down socialist control. Trump and us, MAGA, we're the antidote to all of that. Putting America first, securing our borders, protecting our American identity, our American elections, cutting taxes, restoring faith in God and in our country. To them, that's what Whitehouse calls in this video mischief and corruption, because it threatens their power grab. Senator Whitehouse is rallying his troops for total resistance treating a duly elected president as an invading army, as an enemy. Folks, that is un-American, it's seditious, and it's why they lost big in 2024. And to my knowledge and in my analysis, they have done no credible self-reflection on any of that. We are not the enemy, Sheldon. We're the patriots saving the republic from your transformative tyranny. So when Whitehouse uses those words, ladies and gentlemen, he's not just venting. He's issuing Commusocialist call to arms. But we're ready for him. Stay vigilant. We will be ready by the virtue of our involvement in our local level. Moving on to the next chunk of this video. From Mark 137 to 219, a very short little clip here I'm going to show you. White House reveals the Commusocialist playbook for sabotage. Are you ready for this?
The second, this gets a little bit boring, so I won't go into it in detail, but as the appropriations bill moves forward, we can bake in increases above Trump's budget to the agencies we care about, guardrails against Trump's mischief, and assurances and even hooks to make sure that the funding that we've appropriated actually gets spent and not blockaded by Russ' vote. That we have until January 31st to do, when the current continuing resolution would expire. And then if they haven't done those things, we can go right back to insisting that they have to do them or face another shutdown.
Okay, there he is blabbing on and on about baking in increases above Trump's budget. Did you get it? Into the appropriations bill, slapping what he said, guardrails, right? Against what he calls Trump's mischief. And even, he said, putting hooks in here to make sure that our funding gets spent, not blockaded by Trump's administration. And if now here's of all of what you're going to hear in this video, here's the most chilling part. If it doesn't go their way, Senator Whitehouse actually says another shutdown on January 30th. We will invoke another shutdown on January 30th. I mean, it's unbelievable. The government's not even really officially back open yet, and he's talking about another shutdown. Folks, this is chaos. This is what they want. This is their driver. And it begs the question, why? Why, Doug? Why do you think they want chaos? Because they believe that chaos drives people to depend on big government, that big government is the only way out of the chaos that they create. Riots, arson, anarchy, looting, all chaos, open borders, chaos, fundamentally transform America. How do we do that faster? We need to do it faster. I know, let's flood the country with illegal immigrants. Not only will they be a new electoral base for us, we'll give them the right to vote, but also they'll dilute the American identity. Did you see what it did to Germany, France, and Italy? Boy, sure did work wonders over there. Let's do the same thing right here. Folks, they do this on purpose. And it's not boring details that he's talking about. It's the blueprint for the bureaucratic warfare that they want to wage on this country and on us. Baking in changes. I mean, think about that. That's code for embedding permanent bloat, locking in higher spending for agencies that Trump wants to trim the fat from in order to save money and resources, to make the government more efficient, God forbid. You know, like a bloated Environmental Protection Agency or IRS agents coming after us with weapons. I mean, you know, and more, but there's two examples for you. Senator Whitehouse wants to hardwire socialist pork initiatives into the bill so that all of that is untouchable, actually ignoring the massive heartache and hardship that we just went through with this shutdown. He calls for another. I mean, it is astoundingly unbelievable, but I'm glad he said it. I'm glad we've got him on the record. From a logical standpoint, why fight to inflate budgets when inflation's already crushing families across the country? Because It's not about helping people for them. It's about preserving the deep state, and it's about preserving their power grab. The reason why Nancy Pelosi, during her time in Congress, had a return on her investments of 16,930%. And I'm not making it up. Did a show about that the other day. Go to YouTube. Check it out. At the Right Side, Doug Billings YouTube channel. Check it out. For them, guardrails and hooks, he mentions them. It's pure obstructionism. That's all it is. These are legislative traps designed to handcuff a duly elected president from doing his job, like firing the incompetents, reallocating funds as he sees fit from the executive branch, or streamlining operations. Senator Whitehouse calls Trump's reforms mischief. But the real mischief is in the liberal, endless scheme to thwart the will of the people. And that's what they're doing. You know it and you can feel it. This exposes their anti-American agenda, plain and simple. They lost the election, fair and square, but instead of cooperating, they're plotting to booby trap bills and force shutdowns again. It's like rigging the game because they can't win honestly. Brutally speaking, Sheldon, Senator, it makes you look petty, makes you look like a tyrant. It makes you look terrified of President Trump's efficiency at exposing your party's decades-long fiscal irresponsibility. And it proves, my friends, that the Commusocialists, formerly known as Democrats, are hell-bent on derailing all of the MAGA victories that we've achieved. But we're onto them, and we're going to stay fierce. We're going to get involved. We're going to fight back. We do need to become more like activists, ladies and gentlemen. The elections we had last week, although the radical left will shout, hey, we won these mayors, the mayor of New York, and we won the governorships of Virginia and New Jersey. Let them dance and parade all they want. They didn't gain any ground at all. They just simply held what they had. But we need to be more activists. We need to be more actively involved. We can't continue to have low voter turnout in off-year elections or in primaries. Primaries are very important to get rid of the rhino element that we have. All right, the next clip. White House lays out the Commusocialist master plan like a villain monologue in a bad movie, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look. The last clip here.
So really the sum of my message is, whatever your feelings are, I validate them. Great, feel that way. But we've got a battle on our hands, and it's a battle whose real game day is November a year from now, when we have the chance to throw Speaker Johnson out of the Speaker's office and put the Senate under Democratic control and put real obstacles in the way of Trump's corruption and misconduct. That is the prize on which we must keep our eyes. And whatever we may feel, strategy to get that done, I think, is our now highest obligation. United and fierce, we can do that.
Okay. Highest obligation. Did you catch that? This is the highest obligation they have is to gear up for battle in an election year, a year from now. Throw Speaker Johnson out of office, flip the House, and insert their own radical leader in there, and seize control of the Senate. There it is, all lined out for us, plain as day. Now, we know that that's their plan. This is not new. It's how he puts it. It's how he phrases. Put real obstacles in Trump's way. End Trump's corruption and misconduct. What? And then he says this, another chilling line from the video. Whatever strategy it takes to snag the prize. And their prize, ladies and gentlemen, is complete power. That's it. by any means necessary, whatever strategy it takes. It's not politics for them, ladies and gentlemen. It's a declaration of all-out war. Senator Whitehouse is admitting that the Democrat endgame is resist, obstruct, and overturn Trump's mandate by any means necessary, legally or illegally, whatever strategy it takes. That's the code for the dirty tricks that we've seen all too often before. Lawfare, media smears, rigged investigations, failed prosecution of violent criminals, rigged elections, and maybe even more sinister than stuff like that, the hoaxes that they've planted, the fake information. Shifty Adam Schiff in the sacred halls of Congress lying to that body and to the American people about having proof that Trump was in collusion with Russia. And it's right here on tape. Any strategy it takes. Total control is the prize they seek. Not serving the people. No. Labeling Trump's reforms as corruption and mischief, projection, gaslighting. The real corruption, if we were to look back just over the recent history, the Biden crime family, the Obama and Biden weaponized Department of Justice, the endless scandals, the endless wars. And Senator Whitehouse and his highest obligation that he speaks of isn't to America. Their highest obligation is to their power-hungry hierarchy, clinging to Obama's transformational agenda that spits in the face of God and Providence and our founding fathers. This video ultimately, although repulsive, obviously, on many levels, is a gift. It exposes the left's desperation and their division. While they're infighting and while they're plotting sabotage, we are united behind President Trump. Draining the swamp, making America great. Victories everywhere. Record-breaking deportations this year, and we're only 10 or 11 months into Trump's term. So in conclusion, Sheldon Whitehouse's meltdown proves that the Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, are on the ropes. They have no rudder. They have no direction, folks. They have no thing to offer, except, of course, resist, obstruct, riot, loot, arson, and anarchy. I guess they can offer those things, and they do. What issues do they have to stand on? Men and women's sports, the myth and the mental disorder of transgenderism, the kookville of the LGBTQ kook community. The transgender ideology is gruesome. That dares to suggest that the only way that children can become happy is if they pursue the mutilation of their genitalia. Horrible, barbaric words, I admit, but they need to be said. That's their plan. That's what transgenderism is. Never mind that it's not real. It doesn't exist. It's a mental disorder, ladies and gentlemen. But it's not often that we're given such a gift as this, such an insight into the radical playbook. But Senator Sheldon Whitehouse has provided it. Share his video, share this commentary about it, and beware. The true intent of the Commusocialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is to fundamentally transform America, just like President Obama ordered them to do. Fundamentally transform it away from Providence and away from the intent of the founding fathers. And President Trump and we, the MAGA movement, not only stand in their way, but we're unraveling their agenda in real time and right in front of them. That's the reason they're panicked. That's the reason they are defecting and why their base is now fractured. So stay vigilant, stay active. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe and follow me on X, on all social media. and share this kind of content. This is how we reclaim the republic. And you'll notice that they never call us a republic, do they? No. And they're under orders not to. They can't call us a republic because we have a Republican form of government. And republic is the root word of Republican. So they won't do it. We're always a democracy to them, even though the founders had specific and very passionate debates about not becoming a democracy. So that's our look into the liberal playbook given to us exclusively by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the edition of the Right Side today. Thank you very much. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. We really are on a mission, you and I, to reclaim the republic. And I'm proud that we're in this thing together, folks. Believe it. For the republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, Doug Billings. Hey, my good friends at EMP Shield, that's electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Electromagnetic pulse could wipe out your home electrical system, could wipe out your vehicle. And thanks to the radical liberal agenda that was put forth under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, there are lots of people in this country who want to do us harm. And maybe an EMP device would be their chosen weapon. But EMP Shield gives you a device that can protect you. This little baby here goes on your home outlets, a computer, a router, whatever you want to protect. And then they also have a larger model like this. You can still hold it in the palm of your hand that goes on your vehicle battery so that you can get out of trouble from point A to point B. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen. Save yourself. Save your property. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.